So I wanted to start, and many of you have seen this because I posted it on Facebook, but I wanted to post this. I think they're just thoughts. I don't necessarily think it's necessarily a poem. It was written by a Chinese pastor from China, sent to a brother in Istanbul via friends in Singapore. The hustle and bustle of China finally quiets. The restless society comes to a still, and the restless Chinese people gradually calm down. The wild animals that were once held by humans in cages finally managed to keep humans in cages. Humans finally lower their proud head and have begun to think quietly. Are we still the kings of the earth? Mankind finally feels the power of nature once again. In the face of the threat of death, human beings have only begun to reflect seriously, only to realize that a lack of awe-inspiring social atmosphere will lead to more harm and more risks. The greedy heart is being purified by the virus, and the mouth that loves to eat is being punished by the virus. The people who have been soaking in the bright red and green places all day have been driven home by the virus, saying, "Go home." There are fewer and fewer people on the street, fewer cars on the road. The air is getting fresher. The haze is gone. The sky is getting bluer. The sun is getting brighter. Family lives are getting warmer, harmonial, and cordial. People's hearts have become more and more calm. People who haven't read for years have picked up books at home. Parents and children who had no communication. Couples who couldn't speak few words a year have opened up the conversation box. Children who do not know how to respect the elderly have begun to know love. The virus teaches humans a vivid and profound lesson. It makes us understand awe. It also lets us know what is called good times. It also makes us feel true love on earth. It makes us gradually fall in love. Return to the road. We really should be grateful for this enemy. We need such an enemy to give us a reminder and give us empowerment. The virus will not leave us quickly. It needs to see the cultivation of human good habits. The virus will not continue to rage because human love will gather more power to keep the virus away. Time will tell us everything. Time will also prove what is right. The virus reminds us that there is an Almighty, and we humans are not it. I thought that was powerful because it speaks to the change that we're all going through right now. And so there are three realities that I want to talk to you about today. The first reality is going to be the physical reality. And if I forget to look at my Facebook family, I'm sorry. I'm not used to looking over at you. I was thinking about moving you so I could just look here, but I'll keep it in my head that you're there. The first is the physical reality. The physical reality is that there is a virus called, help me again, Peter. Corona. The coronavirus. Did you know that the coronavirus itself has been around forever? And that it has different strains. There's a coronavirus that we commonly just call the flu. And it has different levels of flu. This coronavirus, COVID-19, is different. More people will probably die from this virus than any other virus that we have had on the planet thus far, possibly because there's more of us. And so just to know that that is what's happening, that there is a virus, and we have to be mindful of that. We have to wash our hands all the time. I love the volunteers that got in here this morning. They put out hand sanitizer everywhere in case you haven't noticed. They wiped down all the surfaces. It smelled kind of like a hospital in here. And I said to the person doing it, I think that will make people feel comfortable. Thank you for doing that. So we know it's clean, right? And yet, did you know that there are 7.6 million people in this state alone? 7.6 million people. The reason I want to tell you that is right now, currently today, I believe 15 people have died. That is a small percentage. I'm not saying that the number won't go up or it can't go up. It might not. But I want you to be with the fact. This virus is dangerous, yes. You need to be mindful, yes. And how many of you, and I will raise my hand, how many of you have anxiety over this? Right? Like, oh my God, my throat is scratchy. I just had to grab a Kleenex because my nose is running. Oh no, I just coughed. Because we are inundated with the news. And me, who doesn't watch the news much, you know what the go-to channel in my house is right now? When I'm not on Netflix, which I try to go to a lot, it's CNN. And I'm sure you all have your favorite news channel. And they are bombarding us with information. That's their job. But remember, what the news is telling us, what makes it news, is it's not normal. It's not the status quo. And so you have to keep that in mind when you're living your life. I went to the Safeway grocery store yesterday to do some shopping. I went to Trader Joe's also, and please pick up this habit. I don't know why I thought of it, but when you're in there, thank the people that are stocking the shelves and that are, the checkout people, because, they're frontline people now. Truly. So thank them. I thank them. I said, aren't people thanking you for being here? And they're like, kind of like, why would they do that? It's my job. Well, I want to thank you for being here because it's also a choice. And what I noticed, I don't know how many of you have been to the East Coast and ever been on a subway. When I moved back there, one of the most amazing things to me was how many people could get in a subway car, and I mean, if you fell down, you would not hit the floor. That's how many people are in a subway car. And they all can look somewhere else. Nobody looks anybody in the eye. And as a West Coast girl, I was fascinated, so I was looking at everybody. And they were probably thinking, you better stop that. What is wrong with her? I felt like I was going to get arrested, but I was like, this is amazing. What is everybody looking at? And this was before, I was there in the 80s. We didn't have cell phones, where we could just turn our cell phone on, listen to music, and, keep our eyes closed. And, people were literally like everybody's eyes. And that's what I noticed in the grocery store. People were afraid to look at each other. So I just started to talk to people because I thought, this is silly. We don't have to we can stay 6 feet apart, and I can still say, we're standing at the meat counter. And people are anxious about getting their meat. And there's still a lot of meat at the meat counter, just so you know, at least at this Safeway. And somebody said something, and I said, well, thank God we're not standing here waiting for toilet paper. Because it's gone. I'm still trying to wrap my head around why it's all gone, but it's gone. So it's kind of an unusual thing to hoard, but okay. I didn't get there in time to hoard my toilet paper. I have enough, but I'm just saying. So, we have to look at the physical reality and how that affects us. And if we're anxious, how are we going to deal with being anxious? And the best way to deal with that is with compassion. Compassion for yourself and compassion for anybody else that's feeling anxious. We don't get to decide we don't get to decide for other people how they are going to move through this period of time in history. Each of us has to make that decision for ourselves. And there is no right or wrong answer. You have to do what feels right in your soul and take care of yourself. That's the only requirement. That and wash your hands all the time. And you sing one of two songs. You either sing Happy Birthday or the ABC song. And you don't get to quit washing your hands. So I'm thinking we're going to have concerts in the bathrooms for right now. Bea said when she was coming home, she was at an airport and she walked into a bathroom and there's a lady in there singing Happy Birthday to herself as she's washing her hands. So I'm thinking many concerts in the bathroom right now. We'll come up with more songs, or we'll just wonder whose birthday it is today as we're standing there singing. So that's the physical reality, is that this is going on and we're all a part of it, right? Every single one of us. And so you need to take care of yourself. You need to really be mindful of how you want to be in the world. And don't let anybody tell you, well, you got to do it this way, because this is the right way. We all assume we know the right way. So I invite you to live your life to the best of your ability, your way, because that is the right way. That is your way. And do it however it is comfortable for you. Whether you come here on Sunday morning, whether you watch us on Facebook. The other physical reality I'm going to do, and I haven't done it yet, I apologize. I will send out an email. I will post it on Facebook. I am going to do Zoom calls 3 times a day, every day except Sunday, for the length of this, where some people aren't able to be in community. And you'll have the Zoom. You can call in whenever you choose. You never have to call in if you don't want to. But it's an opportunity for us to check in with each other. How are you doing? Are you anxious? What can I do for you? Do you need anything? You know, I'll run to the store for you if you need that. What do you need? And to do spiritual practices together. And I'm offering it 3 different times. You can call in all 3 times if you want to. But I'm offering it 3 different times based on people's work schedules. So I'll do 2 during the day and I'll do 1 in the evening. And so it's just an opportunity for us. The thing that's nice about Zoom is we'll get to see each other's faces. You know, they get to see me standing up here. They get to see Becky and Matt and Kurt, thank you. And they don't get to see all of you, and we certainly can't see them. And so it's an opportunity with Zoom that we can all see each other, and I think it's brilliant, and so I'm going to institute that. It's obviously, when I said I think it's brilliant, it's obvious it wasn't my idea. I am brilliant, but that was not my brilliant idea. That was Mark Anthony Lord's brilliant idea, and so I want to honor him also because he's my mentor and I adore him. And he came up with that and set it out on the ministerial listserv, and I thought, perfect way to stay in touch with everybody and see how everybody's doing. So please look for that email or go to either one of our Facebook pages. Genesis Family is a private group page that you have to ask to join, and Genesis Center for Spiritual Living is open to anybody at any time on Facebook, so you can go and check the links out there. Okay, so that's the physical reality of what's going on, right? That's just life right now. And the thing is, we have to remember, life to me, you can call it life, you can call it God, you can call it divine, you can call it whatever you want to. It is life. It's always happening. We get to decide if in our humanness, is that good? Is that bad? Is that whatever? Those are our emotions. And so really check in with how you're feeling and share that with somebody. You know, people that are quarantined or are self-quarantining or are ill, they need to know that they are seen and heard. We need human connection, every single one of us. And so we need to provide, and that's, thank God for Zoom. What if this had happened 15 years ago, right? So let's stay in touch. That's important. So we have that physical technology touch, if you will. So that's the physical reality of what's happening right now, and we will live through this because that's what we do. That is what we do. We will live through this. And Mother Nature takes care of herself, right? And so one of the things that you realize when you have something like this happening in the world is there really isn't a bunch of countries out there. We're all in this together. And that's a pretty stark way to teach what we teach here, but it certainly is true that, there aren't really borders when you're talking about a virus. And so we need one another. That's why we're here, is to not deny. You never deny something. There is something about this philosophy at a period of time when we were teaching it that was almost like, oh no, I'm fine. Right? We just turn away from it. That I can't admit I have a cold, or I can't admit that I'm ill because I'm a religious scientist and I'm not supposed to get sick. We all get sick. Every single one of us. What we're supposed to do is use our spiritual practices and our consciousness as an opportunity to rise above that, to heal ourselves, to do not deny that something exists. We do not deny something exists. That is like what Ernest Holmes said this, so it's not something new. What you resist persists. So you don't want to resist something. And now we're going to talk about the reality of our mind, because that puts a little tweak on that. You don't want to focus on this virus like with all of your energy, like, oh my God, there's a virus and what am I going to do? That's also an opportunity in this philosophy to use what we know to be true. Yes, there is a virus. And if I focus on it, if I give all my energy to it, what's going to happen? What? It grows, right? Whatever I focus on grows. It doesn't mean that the virus isn't there. It's not like I'm saying turn your back on the virus. However, there is energy you could put towards that virus that is not the energy of, oh my God, there's a virus. Excuse me, I've got hair in my eyes. And that energy would be the energy of love. And so when that fear comes up, or that virus comes into your mind, or the next time you cough, or your nose runs, or your throat feels a little bit scratchy, I want you to take a moment and really, with the power of your love, send that not only into your body temple, send that out into the world. Because not everybody has the spiritual practice or the teaching that tells them we're here to rise above that with our consciousness. And to rise above it, you have to go through it. We are not a philosophy that says we're just going to rise above it. And some people have the misconception that we are. Like, I'm in fear, and I don't want to be in fear, so I'm just going to go to love. There's steps in between fear and love, right? And some of those steps sometimes include, I'll call a practitioner, and we'll pray. Or I'll call a minister, and we'll pray. Or I'll do a solid spiritual practice that takes me into getting rid of this fear in my body temple, so I'm not sending that energy out into the world. Do you know one of the best spiritual practices you can do right now, besides prayer, but we'll get to that with the third reality, is visualization. Because our mind normally is running based on our past. And that's how we're seeing the world. Everything we look at, we're seeing it from our past experiences. And that's how we judge things. That's how we file things away. That's where we put everything. So what I'm seeing in the world is very different from what all you are seeing in the world, because none of us grew up the same. So we can all look at the same thing and see it differently. That is why if there is a wreck on the freeway, the police want more than one observer, because they know this. They know everybody's going to see that accident through the eyes of their reality. If they've been in a bad accident, they're going to see it entirely different from somebody that's never been in an accident before. Visualization is allowing yourself to dream of what it would be like if we were all healthy. What if we just visualized that? Health and well-being for everybody on the planet. Just 5 minutes a day. Allow yourself to just Breathe in. And to feel that divine presence within you. And then allow yourself, as you breathe out, to just picture what it would look like if we really lived the vision of this teaching, a world that works for everyone. Not just me, not just people in this room, not people that just people that practice religious science. Everybody, everywhere. Your biggest enemy, your dearest friend. It works for everybody. And if we visualize a world that works for everybody, that would be pretty amazing if that happened. And I believe that it can. Ernest Holmes, who is the founder of this philosophy, believed that it could. And he practiced that. He practiced this philosophy through the 1918 Spanish flu, which was the last pandemic that we had. He held that truth. And so as practitioners, as ministers, as people who have taken classes here, as new people who are like, what is she talking about? Just visualize a planet where everything is balanced. That we aren't running to the store and gathering up all the toilet paper that we can possibly get into our car and taking it home and then wondering in 6 months, what am I going to do with all this toilet paper? We need to breathe in the calm because there is enough energy out there of disruption and fear. And so even if you are staying at home, because it's the smartest thing for you to do, you can still do these practices. You can still breathe in the calm, make yourself calm, and then send that out into the world from wherever you are. And if we all do that, it will start to shift. Energy will start to shift. Mother Nature will start to take care of the planet. And so that is the reality of our mind and the power of our mind and what we can do as humans on this planet that are experiencing this disruption in what we considered our normal daily life. The third aspect of reality is really the spiritual aspect. And that aspect is really tap into your spiritual practices. You not only need them personally, the planet needs them. Everybody on this planet needs to know that they are safe, that they are secure, that they are loved. And there are spiritual practices to do that. I talked about visualization. That's actually a spiritual practice. You could also meditate, spending time each day just to be in meditation, to be quiet, and to listen to that still small voice within. To really tap into the divine, because it is part of who you are. If you're new here, we believe that God lives and breathes and has its existence here as each one of us. That's how it experiences this life, is through us. And if the universe is never against us, it's always for us, then we're going to get to the other side of this disease, this virus, and we're going to look back and go, there's my pony. There's my pony. Remember, inside of any pile of horse manure, the bigger it is, the bigger the pony. And so just to know within your heart of hearts, we will get through this, because we will. And when we do, we will look back and we'll know what the spiritual truths are. And until then, each one of us, because we are religious scientists, because we know this teaching, each one of us is gifted the opportunity to hold consciousness for the world. Either through meditation, through prayer, through visualization, or all of them. And you do not have to be a practitioner or minister to do that. Kat's holding vigil today. She's not a practitioner or a minister. Every single one of you in the mind of Ernest Holmes is already a practitioner. The only difference between you and somebody who identifies as a practitioner is you haven't licensed. every one of you has the consciousness of the divine within you. And so do not play small right now. The world needs you. This community needs you. This country needs you. We need to hold the consciousness of light and love. There is enough fear on the planet already. And so that's our job, I think, I believe, I know. That's my job, and I'm knighting each of you, if you will. That's your job too, because you come here on Sundays, and so you know who you are. You know you're God-informed, and you know you have that divine light within you, and so you know you can do this. And here's the good part. You're going to be doing it by yourself. So nobody's going to be sitting there going, oh, she didn't do the 5 steps of prayer right. She didn't hold that meditation long enough. You get to do it the way you want to do it. Pray, meditate, visualize. If you have other spiritual practices, do them. If it's yoga, do yoga. Many people do yoga, and they're mindful about it. It's about calming your body to help calm the planet. And so I'm going to close today with a prayer that was written by a colleague. His name is Dr. Raymond Anderson, and it's called the Global Prayer. And I wanted to do this prayer because when I read it, it's everything I'd say in a prayer and probably even more. Because sometimes when we write things out, it's we get to say all those things that when we step off the stage, it's like, oh, I forgot to say that. So I thought I was just going to read this because he did call it a global prayer for our planet. And I know many ministers are going to read this today. So you can close your eyes if you choose. Anchored in the deep, abiding peace that comes from knowing there is one power, one presence, called by many names: God, love, source, the infinite, the thing itself. This power, no matter the name, is all there is. It is the manifested and yet to be manifested, the ever expressing, ever expanding, ever creative. It is the very isness and allness of that which is omnipotent, omniscient, and omnipresent. It is this power that I recognize as the governing substance of all creation. It is this power that I know as the very life and breath living and breathing itself as me and as everyone and everything everywhere. I declare a new consciousness where each person does what is theirs to do to eradicate and heal the dis-ease of racism, sexism, classism, ableism, heterosexualism, Christianism, nationalism, and the various phobias that cause people to hurt, to harm, and to kill. The time of that paradigm and level of consciousness is no longer needed, desired, or prevalent. Oneness is the truth of our being, and right here and now is truth, is evoked in the very molecular structures of every cell and every substance. The quantum particles and waves vibrate with this truth, and matter changes, life changes, experiences change, right here, right now. The time has come, and we are the ones. And I joyfully and gratefully join the rallying call of life itself as love, power, presence, and divinity. As this prayer now prays itself, as the universe itself knows this truth about itself, I, which it is, surrender and allow this manifestation of truth to show itself. And I celebrate this demonstration, which is good and magnificently good. And so it is. Amen.